धंधा थी ना हमारा धंधा, क्योंकि पहले धंधा मर्द संभालते थे, अब बचे नहीं।
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
हमारे एजेंसी में हम कहानी और मिसाल दोनों बादशाह बनाते हैं।
The Phoenix sits on the right hand of the Emperor. She is his protector, both beautiful and strong.
We are under attack. Every family must contribute one man to fight.
It is my duty to protect my family.
What is your name, soldier?
Hua Jun, Commander, son of Hua Zhou.
Day-2 of the last session coming to you live. We're hoping for a cooler evening session here in Chennai at the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium. The Paytm Test Series winning the toss in a fabulous position, 454 for 4. Standout player there, the skipper. 209, still going strong. Contributions there from Sibley and Ben Stokes. Joe stood rooted to the crease, played an amazing innings. Used the sweep shot whenever necessary. Very good shot selection, excellent use of the feet. Either deep in the crease or stepping down the track. It's very severe on all the borders. Paced his innings beautifully, like he normally does. And in the recent past, Mark and Deep, he's converted this hundreds into daddy hundreds or granddaddy hundreds and double hundreds.
He's certainly done that, LS. It's been a magnificent exhibition of concentration, stroke play, skill, balance, you name it, the whole lot. India's bowlers have toiled and toiled hard. Bumrah the most successful so far, 2 for 66. Ishant has been worth perhaps a little bit more than that in the wickets column anyway. Ashwin with 1 for 114 has provided a threat. Nadeem and Washington Sundar have found the going particularly tough on this unforgiving Chepauk Stadium pitch. One thing's for sure, Joe Root has looked as fresh this morning, or as fresh this evening as he has at any point during the day. Doesn't seem to be in any mood to give his wicket away.
"19 fours and 2 sixes for Joe Root. And it's a fantastic spread. He's a good player all around the park. See the red lines, 2 of them on the leg side. Massive sixes. And not to forget the ones in yellow and white. The ones and twos to rotate strike.
Yeah, and what a way to go to a Test match double century. just pop down out of the crease and bang it over the man at long on for 6. He's not afforded himself too many luxuries in this innings. It has been a study in self-control, wanting to build a platform, to build a total in the first innings from which England can control this contest and perhaps even control the series.
And now from that perspective, this session becomes very, very important. What is the England camp thinking from here on? 454 for 4. Are they planning to get some quick runs here now and declare, maybe giving India a chance to bat last hour or so? Still got someone like Josh Butler yet to come.
That's my feeling. England will still be thinking that the surface is pretty good. You know, unless you're hitting the rough marks, there's not much happening. And that if we're going to control the game, they'll also have memories of the previous match 4 or 5 years ago, where they made 477 and lost the game comfortably. So England will be thinking about nothing more than batting, pouring on the misery, making India take a second new ball, and try to wear out the pitch and wear out the legs and minds of the Indian team.
You're talking about getting the Indians tired for the series, rest of the series, because it's going to take a double collapse, and in this heat and humidity, even if India have one collapse, less likely to ask them to follow on. If they keep batting all the time. You're saying they might bat tomorrow as well?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, look, if you look at the way that this series was looked at from the start, India come back conquering heroes from winning in Australia. They haven't lost more than 3 test matches at home in a decade. They're roaring favourites, aren't they? So even if England come away from here with a draw or push England close for a victory, the tables have already turned in terms of how the series is perceived.
Fair enough. I mean, if they do really want to go on and bat even on day 3, I don't think India would be too worried about that then. As you mentioned, LS, I mean, talking about 20 wickets failing or in 2 innings. It's just, I don't know, just maybe they might be thinking on those lines. We'll just figure that out, I guess, in the next half an hour or so. We will get the signs what the English camp is thinking. On what lines?
Come on, Mark. World Test Championship. England need to qualify. They need to win 3.
England need to win 3, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not talking about them batting tomorrow because they want to draw the game. I'm talking about trying to give themselves the best chance of winning this first Test match on a very, very flat surface. And look, England last night scored 124 in the last session of the day, right? Say they do 70. They're not 600 that Joe Root was talking about. Like you say, we'll find out in the next 40 minutes or so what England's intentions are, but I think that they're probably just going to keep on batting, keep grinding away for the moment.
Nicely timed, once again in the gap. Enough time to pick up 2. The run machine keeps going on and on and on. The rotational strike, brilliant. As you can see, 90 singles. It's a lightning quick outfield. That's why I find the 1-3.
Going back to what you mentioned about the perception as far as the series is concerned, I think most of the people really, obviously India would be firm favourites, but it was always going to be a competitive one, especially after how England played in Sri Lanka.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, you know, what I read and the comments that I was hearing, that people were saying, well, Sri Lanka are terrible. You can't judge anything on what happened there. Joe Root has gone past Dean Jones. That infamous, famous knock of Dean Jones, who's sadly no longer with us. He made that double century here in 1986 with suffering from dehydration. Joe Root's now the top dog.
Dino was in September. Dino got a double 100 in September when it was very, very hot. And it was a tight test. Now we're just out of a so-called winter in Chennai. 1.5 months of winter.
Oh dear. What we'd give for winters like this back in the UK. Just another query about the ball. India trying their best to get their hands on something a bit more favourable. Once again, you can see what this abrasive surface here in Chennai does to the seam. It rips it to shreds.
I mean, the seam is all gone.
The other thing I'd challenge for the Indian bat, especially someone like Shubman Gill, is to come out and bat after fielding for 150 plus overs. And he's not just fielding, he's there in close-in fielder, one of the close-in fielders, so he's been squatting up and down most part of those 150 plus overs. I think especially for someone like him as an opener, you would actually love that break, isn't it? You wouldn't want to bat last 40 odd minutes end of day.
That single, Joe Root will keep strike. 458 for 4.
हमारे एजेंसी में हम कहानी और मिसाल दोनों बहुत अच्छा बनाते हैं.
Doesn't happen too often, these kind of numbers for Ashwin, especially in India. 41 overs just from 1 wicket.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another big feather in the cap of England. Ashwin, with that terrific record at home, has been kept at bay. Struggled a bit with injury, hasn't he? He's had a bad back, making him bowl a lot of overs. The test matches are back-to-back. There's a 3-day gap between this one and the next one. You know, these matches and series, yes, we're watching a 5-day game that's happening right now, and the result of it's very important. But what happens in this one also affects what happens in the next, and the next, and the next. So imagine England do carry on batting tomorrow, I don't know, say for 40 minutes or something. They've got a number in mind. They don't quite get there tonight. They send India back out in the field again tomorrow. Ashwin racks up another 20 overs or so. And England are giving their very inexperienced spin bowling attack a mountain of runs in front of them. It's not like they've got Swan and Monty Panesar in, who are both experienced, both got a number of test match wickets under their belt. But Joe Root knows the limitations perhaps of his attack in these conditions.
Also the surface, it's only going to deteriorate, right? So there'll be more wear and tear, maybe an hour tomorrow first session, or maybe more or less, because it will be rolled tomorrow morning. So first half an hour, 45 minutes should play really well, and then it'll start deteriorating again day 3. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Have the roller option as well tomorrow if England continue to bat. We'll talk about more in the next over. 4:59 for 4.
PR ng
unusual couple.
What exactly is your story?
The men that happy ever are.
Never tired of batting. Giroud. Really tiring for all the bowlers. And like you mentioned, the wear and tear on the pitch is going to get even more as there's more traffic on the pitch. Ishant coming back into the side looked a little rusty. Bumrah's worked hard. Ashwin's had a long spell. It's the support bowlers who haven't done the job. Nadeem and Washington Sundar.
What's your opinion on the Kuldeep scenario, LS?
It's a boundary. Kuldeep, I think, didn't play in Australia, hasn't played for a while. He's even out of the Knight Riders side. Maybe low in confidence. But he would be kept as a surprise weapon for this series. But you never know what clients do they have. It's all a state of mind, isn't it? Skill sets you possess. That's why you come up to this level of the game.
What would you do? What would you're our expert on spin bowling. You're a selector. Would you have picked him, or would you look to be picking him in this series?
Well, that's why I don't want to be a selector.
Come on, get that fence out from underneath you.
Well, looking at this game, I mean, this is after the event is over. I mean, you see, Nadeem hasn't really bowled well, but it's done really well in domestic cricket. But you'd prefer to have somebody like a Kuldeep in Shahbaz Nadeem's place. That's for sure.
Now, would have gone with Kuldeep, but you do understand why they've got Nadeem there. Because I personally believe they wanted to attack with the three bowlers, Ashwin, Bumrah and Ishant. And they wanted someone to give them a little more control. The captain a little more control, which unfortunately Nadeem did not bring to the table. I'm sure he would be the defensive option, keeping it tight from one end. Then you have that option of attacking shorter spells with Ashwin. I'm sure if Nadeem and Washington Sundar had bowled better, then Ashwin wouldn't have to bowl 40, 42 overs and longer spells. He might have to bowl shorter spells and could be more attacking with his lines. So I think, personally, I believe that was the thought process behind getting someone like Nadeem in. But yes, as a wicket-taking option, you definitely would prefer someone like Kuldeep Yadav.
I think the biggest surprise is that of the pitch. I think everybody expected the pitch to do a lot more than what it's done. They expected the ball to turn square and it hasn't happened.
As yet.
As yet, yeah. The reserve players like Mayank Agarwal, opening batsman, Kuldeep, Siraj unlucky to miss out. Rahul Chehe is more of a wide ball bowler, leg spinner. Look, something interesting in the next over, Butch. 465 for 4.
The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
No sign of declaration, but that man padded up. Guess you'll get some entertainment if Butler gets out in the centre. But every time England came to India in the past, Indian captain would be looking around for a right-arm leg spinner. But now you find a lot of leg spinners. Probably each IPL team has 2 leg spinners. But those leg spinners haven't gone on to play the 4-day game, which is Ranji Trophy in India, and haven't done well in the longer formats. They are more dependent on batsmen who are trying to play the big shots on a regular intervals and make the mistake. And the leg spinners don't develop into trying to get the batsman out. Some miscue. Rishabh Pant did not know where the ball had gone. Rishabh Pant was going somewhere else and the ball elsewhere.
He's having some fun here now, Rishabh. He's lucky there, but look at Rishabh. But the best part is, it's not just Rishabh, it's Oli Pope actually reacting to what Rishabh did.
This will give you an idea of Rishabh Pant.
Just shock all round, wasn't there? Pope not expecting that sort of delivery from a bowler like Ashwin. Had no idea where the ball had gone. Rishabh, I don't know whether Rishabh was just trying to have Ollie Pope on, or whether he didn't know where it was either.
69 for 4.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
भैया
63 for 2, then a partnership for 200, backed up by a partnership for 124. And the current partnership 82 got England into a very, very commanding position.
ऊपर वाले सिंगल रोकना भाई सारे बूम थोड़ा सा सीधा
Shabaz Nadeem into the attack again.
रोकी
54 overs, Shabaz Nadeem and Washington Sundar bowling together. Just the 4 maiden overs. Just the 4 maiden overs, which means right through their spells, they haven't been able to control things.
Yeah, I mean, that has been an issue. England thinking about how best to go about winning a test match, winning a series, and this is what they're playing for. ATM trophy. Beautiful piece of silverware. The added bonus of placing the World Test Championship for the team that carries it off at the right margin.
Joe Root, during the course of this innings, becomes the third highest run getter for England. Cook, Gooch and Joe Root.
It's extraordinary, really. Joe Root in the last 3 tests. He's knocked off David Gower, Kevin Peterson. Now Alex Stewart. Jeff Boycott, I think, as well. Just all in the course of the last 3 test matches. It's gone past all of those great names of English cricket in terms of leading run scorers.
He's also scored more than 600 runs in the last 3 test matches.
This certainly will go past Graham Gooch pretty soon. 8,900 for Graham Gooch. Alistair Cook is a long way away. 472 for 4.
कौन हो तुम? मैं हूं हनुमान। मैं राम हूं। राजकुमारी सीता का किसी ने अपहरण किया है, तो अपना हर भार मेरे कंधों पर डाल दीजिए। जब तक हम सब एक हैं, हमें हराना आसान नहीं है। The Legend of Hanuman, now streaming. The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
So far, 28 overs still remaining today.
I was talking with Kartik next door about the longest periods of time spent in the field. I'm guessing that you two gentlemen would have had a few long innings. Mine was fielding to Brian Lara, making 400 at the Antigua Recreation Ground back in 2004. 2 3/4 days. Any longer ones than that?
Well, Test cricket, no. Test cricket, I think, was 120 or 130 odd overs. But first class cricket, yeah, closer to 200 odd overs. So the 3 new balls taken. By the time the time came for the 3rd new ball, I was the captain. Oh, that close. That is close. No, that's not close. That's out, actually. Is he going to go for it? And look plumb.
Yeah, unless Ollie Pope's hit that, I think he needs to keep walking. It was a scratchy return to the team for Ollie Pope. Never really found any sort of fluency or timing. He's been out of the game since the back end of the last English summer with those shoulder operations. Never really found his touch out there. Nashwin has snuck one through him. Stone dead.
Expected the ball to turn. Played down the wrong line. Crashed into middle and leg. No problems with that. Another very good decision by the umpire. 34 for Ollie Pope. 473 for 5.
Center. Off.
Pope, the man dismissed. Butler comes out to bat. This approach could give us an indication of the mindset of England, what they're going to do tonight. They're going to bowl at all.
Yeah, maybe, although Josh Butler tends to be aggressive in most circumstances. A chance for India to attack here. Got to think about wrapping up the England innings, not waiting for a declaration. Butler's in, and there are men crowded around the bat. Short leg slip. So India sense a chance to attack.
Oh, nicely tossed up, almost carried. Shubman Gill, the fielder.
Not the easiest of surfaces to drive. That too against the turn. Especially when he walked out.
I think it was a natural variation that got the wicket of Ollie Pope. Same position was meant to turn, but just go straight on. Rewarded for a marathon spell.
Yeah, Ollie Pope just deceived a little bit for length, got caught half and half. Ball revolving, hitting the shiny side. Something that Ashwin is more than capable of doing on purpose. And he thoroughly deserved the wicket. 474 for 5.
I'm not supposed to be here. Can you help me get back?
Why? Earth is boring.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे.
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ.
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
Skipper being the star of the show. Contributions from Sibley and Stokes. India is still working hard against a strong England batting lineup. Just put up a brilliant performance. Looks like it's going to be the grind.
तेरे पास जोर से मारेगा शुभी है. ऐसे करके तेज मारता है, ध्यान रखियो.
Should have been on the front foot there, Butler.
He's been batting at number 6 for England in the lineup. England have got the extra batsman in Ollie Pope at number 6, so Butler's down at 7. This will be Josh Butler's only test match of the series. He's heading back to the UK for his turn at rotation in the midst of England's extraordinarily busy international calendar in 2021.
17 test matches, which includes Ashes end of the year and obviously the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's a heck of a lot of cricket. When England tend to play more test matches than most anyway in a calendar year, but this one is exceptional. His 50th match, received a cap from Joe Root. Joe Root received a silver cap from Chairman of Selectors, Ed Smith, before the start of the game. So both good mates, achieving milestones in the same test match at the beginning of this series. Here's Joe Root giving an impassioned speech. We weren't able to get close enough to hear exactly what he said, but doubtless it would have been glowing in terms of his admiration for Josh Butler.
No! Easy virat bhi. चलो चलो थोड़ा माहौल बनाओ. चलो यार शाबाश.
Big moment, playing a 50th test match, playing a 100th. And 100th for Joe Root has been memorable. Big appeal, and he has given him. It's taken the review straight away and reckons with a missed leg stump.
Well, I thought Joe Root went straight away for the review, and I thought that was because he thought he'd inside edged it. But you're right.
Third umpire to director, play review for LBW.
Was going down.
Original decision is out. It's a fair delivery. Spin vision, please. Nice and slow. Yeah, ball passing very close to the bat. Can we have ultra-edge, please? Roll it nice and slow. Roll it forward. Still up to the bats, please. Yeah, flat line when the ball passes the bat. Ball tracking, please. Ball tracking ready. Stand by Hawk 1. Pitching in line. Impact in line. Wickets hitting. On-field umpire on screen, please. Nitin, stay with the original decision. You're on screen. Give out, please.
Just straightened a little bit and kept low as well. Had a fantastic innings. An outstanding innings. One to remember for a long, long time. 3 short of 9 hours. Joe Root, mammoth innings comes to an end. 477 for 6.
आज पुष्पा दीदी नहीं आएगी.
भी ये मैं कर लेता हूँ.
तो फिर मैं ड्रीम 11 पे टीम बना लेती हूँ.
India versus England. Dream 11. Make your team now. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibly at your own risk.
Right, a bit of hope for India. A couple of quick wickets. So, two new faces at the crease, Bess and Butler. Not a huge amount of turn, but enough purchase off the surface. Joe Root says straight away it's going to miss leg stump, and he wasn't quite right. He hasn't missed much throughout this innings. So just a couple of moments to lift the spirits of India, who've been dragging their heels for the last day and a half. Just enough. Nice moment, lovely moment. I've been chatting actually quite a lot throughout this innings. Virat Kohli and England's captain, two terrific batsmen. Virat Kohli would have been in admiration of what he saw throughout the innings. Desperate to get him out, of course, but admiring the way that he's played, not just in this innings, but in the last few weeks or so. A couple of double hundreds and a big 100. Lovely to see that, wasn't it? See Virat Kohli just go up and tap him on the shoulder and say, yeah, I really enjoyed, well, not enjoyed it, but really admired the way that you played.
Yeah, and you've got to show that respect for your opponent. Like you said, I think they have been chatting throughout the course of this innings a few times. Tom Bess is the new batsman. 15 test matches for him. He's got a 50 in that. .478 for 6.
I'm not supposed to be here. Can you help me get back?
Why? Earth is boring.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे.
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ.
Hostile Specials presents Arya.
The sidelines.
देख लो जैसा आपको कुछ लगे. वो देखो
Not an overly attacking field. Understandable at 478 for 6, but an opportunity now for Kohli. Josh Butler playing in his one and only test match of this series. He goes home after this.
It'll be interesting to see how Josh Butler goes now, because got an attacking instinct naturally. Also, there was a bit of urgency when Joe Root and Ollie Pope were batting. 2 quick wickets. England in a good situation. Josh Butler can be lethal if he wants to get going. But again, it's the mindset. It's what the team plan is. Tom Bess can definitely bat. So it'll be interesting how he goes about his innings now.
Well, I'd be surprised if there's been any chat to Josh Butler at all. Just keep playing. I think they're going to try and bat for as long as they possibly can. Not sure they'll be talking about runs scored in a certain amount of time. Bat the day, and then let's have another go tomorrow. I think that's what they'll be chatting about, however long it takes. Big first inning score, Route 1 cricket. Try and bowl them out twice.
Yeah, the pitch gets used as well. The longer they bat. Started to see a little bit more help for the bowlers. Still quite easy paced. But clearly they'll want to get as many as they can.
So the only thing with batting too long is that even if you get into a position to enforce the follow-on, can you, in all the heat and humidity? Oh, good delivery, good delivery. Beat him on the inside. Beat Rishabh Pant as well. A 481 for 6.
Unusual couple.
What exactly is your story?
And then it happy ever after.
वो तो है ही नहीं. एक्सक्यूज थोड़ी ना भैया वो वरना तो सारी है. अंदर ही रखेंगे, अंदर ही रखेंगे. ये नहीं मांग रहा है वो. हाँ सॉरी. हो गया
Right, Ashwin to continue. A couple of wickets. He's bowled 45 overs to get those 2 wickets. Still not a huge amount of turn though in the surface.
Still got the energy. What, 156 overs in? And you need someone. It's been a long couple of days for India.
They always say wicket keepers are characters, and we have one in the com box. Yeah, but Josh Butler is different. He's a keeper himself. He doesn't do these kind of things. But yes, it's been entertaining listening to Rishabh Pant.
Even from India's perspective at this point, out of nowhere really, they've got a couple of quick wickets. Can put a bit more pressure on England, try and keep them down to as little as they can.
Just a little bit more turn now. Those that looked at the pitch this morning, there were just one or two patches, that was all. The guts of the wicket's still very good and held together, not many cracks, but just beginning now. That was the dismissal of Ollie Pope. I thought this was a terrific bit of bowling. You might think there that he's just missed a straight one, but again, look at the release. The release is the one that is going to go straight on. That's not the off spinner. That is the one that's going to go. Well, that's another delivery, but we're going to show it in a minute. Already 2 for 6.
The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
Yeah, in no hurry for now. Just try and rebuild the partnership. Just have a look at the Ollie Pope this way. Look at the release there. Now, I don't think that's an off spinner. I think there he's trying to get his fingers round the ball and he's hoping that that's going to go straight on. Hit the seam and go straight on. We'll show that's a slight variation.
Have a look. Yeah.
I'll try and highlight it. So the normal off spinner's release, you can see the seam. The seam position is crucial. And it goes that way round itself, and then bounces and goes like an off spinner. What he does, just look at the seam, he rotates it slightly, so it's now straight on, and therefore it rotates around itself and goes straight. And the hope is that it's not going to turn and it's going to go skidding on. And that's exactly what happened with the dismissal of Ollie Pope. So again, you might look at this and say we just missed a straight ball, but I think you've got to give a lot of credit just to the skill of Ashwin. I think he's setting him up here, and in the end, it's just too good at the moment for Ollie Pope. And we've seen that a little bit throughout the Test match series so far, yesterday and today. Just subtle variations from Ashwin. It's what makes him arguably the best off-spinner in the world. And he'll be looking at that now and thinking, yeah, I played for the off-spinner and he wasn't the off-spinner.
It's the little variations, isn't it? Such a placid pitch. Don't take things out of a bowler's hand. It's only that fraction of a second that you need to beat the batsman.
Trying to use his feet. Already 5 for 6.
कौन हो तुम? मैं हूं हनुमान। मैं राम हूं। राजकुमारी सीता का किसी ने अपहरण किया है, तो अपना हर भार मेरे कंधों पर डाल दीजिए। जब तक हम सब एक हैं, हमें हराना आसान नहीं है। The Legend of Hanuman, now streaming. The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
So attacking field now, leg gully in the game with the ball turning back into the right-hander.
If you're an Indian batsman, I think you'll still be happy that there's not much that's happening from between the wickets. Anything straight, there's only an odd one that perhaps misbehaves a little bit, but otherwise it's still quite easy paced and not a lot of turn. It's only the rough areas that you're getting a little bit more turn every now and then.
Yeah, the crucial bit is the pace at which it spins. Because if it spins slowly, any batsman can adjust. And right now, the odd one, whichever has misbehaved slowly. And that's where I think as an Indian batting lineup, you're thinking, okay, it has deteriorated, but it's not as if that we can't negotiate.
At least what those 2 wickets have done is slowed down the scoring for England. Four, 8-5 for 6.
I'm not supposed to be here. Can you help me get back?
Why? Earth is boring.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hostel Specials presents Arya.
Well, he's pretty animated. The team are pretty animated as well with those 2 wickets, and of course the dismissal of Joe Root. It's just injected a little bit of life into Virat Kohli and his team. There's a little bit more chatter out there now. Man at slip, man at leg gully. Let's call it leg gully, more short leg I suppose, but round the corner leg side. So both edges catered for, outside and inside. Well, he's going to have a huge role to play in the remainder of this game with his off-spin, Don Bess. Just get used to conditions out there now with the bat. And no mug with the bat as well. More than useful. Any runs he can add now.
Absolutely. The more time he spends there in the middle, he knows what sort of areas that you need to bowl.
Good leave. Good leave, just. I guess also the longer he's out there, the more familiar he gets with conditions, and he'll face a lot of spin whilst he's out there, so he just gets a clue as to what speeds he needs to bowl. Nearly. Things just beginning to happen a bit more now for India.
Well tossed up, just that extra bounce, but again that slowness of the surface allowing the batsman to adjust and the ball going down. So many times you see as a bowler that you've beaten the batsman in the air only for him to make sure that the ball goes down, and that's exactly what's happened on the surface. Every time you beat the batsman, every time there's been something which has been a semblance of bounce, the bat pad or any of those shots aren't going to catch. .485 for 6, Ravichandran Ashwin. That's just glorious. Had enough room, had enough time, and Josh Butler equal to the task.
It did bounce a little bit, but just so much power behind it. Again, nicely tossed up. Uses the bounce and there's no fielder in the cover. Even though it's in the air, just needed to pick the gap up. England batsmen have done that well throughout this innings. Just going back in the crease every opportunity there was.
Short again, and there was a cry of no, and that was Ashwin saying, dragged it down again. And Josh Butler, in the form that he's in, and the player that he is now in Test match cricket, won't miss out.
Yeah, this one he wasn't happy with. You're right, as soon as he let that ball go, he wasn't happy. The previous one gave himself a bit of room, but here he didn't have to do anything, just get bat to ball. It is a tired attack. You will get a few loose balls if you hang in there.
But again, I think you were on with me when we were talking about Ollie Pope and the way England look to play spin now. Just have a look at Josh Butler, how much he dips as he's a little dip in the stair. Goes right down, trying to get underneath the eye line, or underneath the ball, get the eye line underneath. They feel with a wide base, that's a better way of playing spin in order to pick up the length of the ball. Look how much he dips here. There. And that really is to try and help them pick length. Something that, as I say, in the last stint I did, Duncan Fletcher talked about that in the mid-90s with us. And Marcus Trescothick was very keen to take that on and felt that had a big influence on the way he played spin. Or 93 for 6.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hot Specials presents Arya.
Well, the third new ball is available right now, but they've decided not to take it.
Yeah, it makes sense as well at this point. I think newer, harder ball might just be easier to score off as well. Apart from the last over where a couple of boundaries were scored, the scoring has been, the English batsmen have been fairly quiet.
Talking about Ashwin and what Ashwin has done over the years, he's somebody who's never been averse to trying different things. And this is onto your left is his action in 2016, and onto the right is the way he's currently bowling. And even in this, he's done quite a few things to tweak. And when you speak to somebody like him, what he's always trying to get is a lot more body into it, because there's always been this constant criticism that he's more of a hand bowler rather than a body bowler. And he's always said that even I'm trying to figure out how to get more of my body into it. And that happens with the way you gather. And onto your right, what he's trying to do is get into a stronger position, which actually brings down or shortens his delivery stride, allowing him to pivot over the ball and allow that body to go forwards. And also, he's somebody who's not exactly side-on as a bowler, so he's always been a mixed action. And with mixed actions also, when you're trying to get the ball to go outside the off stump, it's never easy. The one to your left, the ball is always going to come in. It's always going to be straightish, whereas right now you can also see that it's slightly round arm, which allows you to turn around your hip. And also, the delivery stride has shortened a lot more. It's all about the gather. It's all about the loading up. It's 495 for 6.
कौन हो तुम? मैं हूं हनुमान। मैं राम हूं। राजकुमारी सीता का किसी ने अपहरण किया है, तो अपना हर भार मेरे कंधों पर डाल दीजिए। जब तक हम सब एक हैं, हमें हराना आसान नहीं है। The Legend of Hanuman, now streaming. The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
Well, approaching 50 overs in the innings for Ashwin. 48. A couple of wickets, had to work incredibly hard for those 2 wickets. He was gifted one early in the piece with the reverse sweep, but apart from that he's had to work exceptionally hard on a pitch that's done very little for him.
And in continuation of what we're trying to talk about is, you look at the way he's loaded up to the right. His hands are in the perfect position, very close to where the India logo is, facing the chest as well. So you're in a much stronger position. And then you look at when you draw that vertical line, to your left, it's right above his head, which means that the way he releases or the way his body motion goes, it's always towards the stumps, whereas the one onto your right, that's the current action, it's a lot more slightly away from his ears, which is not a problem. Most of the great bowlers had their bowling actions or bowling arms not exactly above your head but slightly away from your ear.
You know, looking at that, it might well be exactly the same transition in his technique as Dom Bess. Actually, when we see Dom Bess bowl in this innings, you'll see a little bit like 216 with Ashwin. Very high release, almost over the ear and the head. So it'll be interesting to see whether he then develops a slightly more round arm, but we'll maybe make that comparison a little later on in the game. Adventurous. Length was the key there. 495 for 6.
I'm not supposed to be here. Can you help me get back?
Why? Earth is boring.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hostile Specials presents Arya.
चलो सुबह भागना पड़ेगा उधर। शाबाश, रेडी रहो।
Nadeem to continue, a couple of wickets to his name. That's the other point of difference, really. When you look at the modern game, I mean, I was watching the guys warm up today at whatever time it was, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you've got Jeetan Patel. Jeetan Patel is the spin coach at the moment for this designated tour. Now, he's working specifically with Leach and Bess. So his morning's work is with the spinners. Bit of aggression. You go back over the years when we played, you'd have a bowling coach who was probably a seam bowling coach and a batting coach, and that was it. So the poor spinners had to sort of find their own way and work their own way. Now in the modern game, you've got someone like Jeetan Patel who travels as a specific spin bowling coach.
I think it is a requirement of the modern game because, as you rightly said, a fast bowling coach might have great knowledge about the fast bowling aspect of it. And then the spin bowling coach who's done it all his life, it's not about dissecting your technique sometimes, Nick. It can also be about just discussing tactics. What are the things which you can see from outside? It's not just about telling them, oh, that your arm is not going this way or your leg is not going that way. It's just talking tactics. Sometimes, possibly, as a spin bowling coach, you observe a few things, that you're rushing through certain things. You can try this, you can try that. Keeping with the team's plans, I think in conjunction with the team's plans. It's all about that. And during your downtime, during your practice time, you can tinker with your technique. But during match time, there are so many other aspects to a spin bowling coach as well. I'm not vying for a spin bowling coach spot, by the way. I'm not vying for a spot. I'm just talking about the benefits of it.
Ball only 6 for 6.
हमारे एजेंसी में हम कहानी और मिसाल दोनों बहुत अच्छा बनाते हैं.
Washington Sundar then into the attack. Ashwin is bowled at 1 shy of 50, so deserves a break. Sundar just to 19. So the summary of what you were saying, Murali, is you're putting yourself up for left-arm spin bowling coach. We've got an off-spin bowling coach in Jeetan Patel.
No, the long and short of it is, I am talking about the benefits of a spin bowling coach for a team, but I have not put my hat in the ring. That's the long and short of it.
Getting ultra specific. We've got a left-arm spin coach and an off-spinning coach. I mean, they've got a keeping coach, and all that sort of bases and angles are covered now, and rightly so too. Greater resources in the game.
Yeah, but sometimes I do wonder, like, you have John Lewis here and Chris Silverwood, both of them were seamers. So do you need an extra seam bowling coach? Because Silverwood himself was a top draw bowler and he was an assistant coach. So sometimes you do wonder with the support staff. I can understand if you have a fast bowling coach but you don't have a spin bowling coach. But if a spinner is also a coach, he can definitely help you.
I think it's the case with most teams, isn't it? I think there's always a head coach who sort of overlooks everything. And then specific areas are addressed to different coaches. It's a big touring party these days. But you're right, I think maybe there's a lot more emphasis that needs to be given with having a spin bowling coach around or someone who consults on a regular basis, especially with so many young spinners coming through at the moment.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They're pleading with the umpire. Both the wicket-keeper, bowler, they are pleading.
Don't have a review left. There wasn't a single fielder on the pitch who wasn't sure about it. Washington Sundar's toiled and it's still on his haunches.
Well, they're pleading, absolutely pleading with the umpire. Rishabh Pant went straight up. Washington Sundar went straight up, and they cannot believe that that has not been given out. Beautiful shot, found the gap. Just to rub a bit of salt into the wounds.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the body language now. Felt like they'd got a wicket. 500 up for England. As to overpitches that one, and that's the third one that Butler's hit through the offside. Just times it beautifully. Could have been out the previous ball. Punishes him the next one. 501 for 6. And we'll take drinks at this point.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
हमारे एजेंसी में हम कहानी और मिसाल दोनों बहुत अच्छा बनाते हैं।
The last hour and maybe a bit more left of day 2. This is where England is placed very comfortably though. 501 for 6. Superb knock again from the English captain Joe Root. 5th double 100 in his test career, 218. Strokeful Stokes innings of 82. Ollie Pope come back after a while and a useful 34. It's Josh Butler and Tom Bess out there right now. And their partnership is worth 24. Again, going back on day 1, it was a partnership between Joe Root and Dom Sibley of 200 runs. Set it up beautifully for England. Wickets this session. Ollie Pope. Come back after that shoulder injury and operation. Couldn't read the straighter one from Ashwin. Beaten. Playing for the spin, but what's a straighter one? It was Joe Root, the double centurion. Went for TRS, went for a review straight away, but that one was hitting leg stump. Nadeem picking a very, very important wicket of Joe Root, and what a knock he's played. Well, a couple of wickets each for Bumrah, Ashwin and Nadeem, and that's where it stands. 501 for 6. England in their first innings.
Okay,
15 more overs to go on day 2. This last hour will begin with a Nadeem over. It looks a different surface, this one, with 2 new batsmen comparatively. There's a big appeal, massive appeal caught behind. Was there a sound? Yes, there was. It's in the air. Land safely over Ishan's head and will go all the way to the boundary. Intentions clear there.
Yes, there's no point just poking around now. You're going to try and get as many runs as possible. They will be looking to get at least another 80, 90 runs. This is the edge that everybody appealing, everybody saying, how's that, how's that? But they lost their reviews, remember? They lost 3 reviews, so they couldn't review this one.
That's why the game awareness is so very important. Had there been a review left, you never know. Butler might have just walked off, knowing fully well that India will review that. Because since India don't have any more reviews left, he stood his ground.
Yeah, lost all their reviews. point where England still had 6 wickets in hand. Maybe a couple of them still all right, but that got behind review was a little iffy. Went off the thigh, rather off the forearm. Everyone beaten there. Batsman, keeper. Five or 6 for 6.
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे।
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ।
Hostile Specials presents Arya.
आपको लगा? नहीं, ये कैसे कर देता हूँ मैं? कुछ तो मार दो, बॉल रुकना चाहिए भैया। चौका जाएगा नहीं तो सीधा ही है। आपको मजाक लग रहा है भाई, ऐसे ही होता है।
Well, this session so far, 19 overs have been bowled. Using his feet well there. Hit a boundary last over.
Talking about DRS, it goes in favor of the umpires. I mean, it's an umpire's call in the end. You just get the review retained at its best, but it's the umpire's call. Unless it's a really, really bad decision by the umpire, you go for the DRS. Otherwise, you know, most times it goes in the favor of the umpires. And India took 2 of those within a matter of 8 deliveries and lost both.
Would be thinking about it now. It's too late. It's Rohit Sharma there. Short leg. He's been standing there whole of this session. Short leg. Giving a break to the youngster, Shubman Gill.
How to go for the DRS is such an important thing. The wicketkeeper has a key role to play, particularly if it's a question of LBW. And Rishabh Pant's been brilliant this time around. He's been saying the ball's going to go over the top or going down the leg side.
Went very fine between the keeper and leg slip. Virat standing there was fast and fine. Not really an opportunity.
But the way Virat is standing with his hands on his knees, he's going to take extraordinary reflexes to be able to get that. And maybe this kind of a catch yesterday in the first session would have been possible because you're that much more alert, that much more fresh. But after 5.5 sessions, everybody's tired, mentally as well as physically. It's 511 for 6.
कौन हो तुम? मैं हूं हनुमान। मैं राम हूं। राजकुमारी सीता का किसी ने अपहरण किया है, तो अपना हर भार मेरे कंधों पर डाल दीजिए। जब तक हम सब एक हैं, हमें हराना आसान नहीं है। The Legend of Hanuman, now streaming. The Phoenix sits on the right hand of the...
The second new ball was actually available after 162. Third new ball, beg your pardon, the third new ball. They still haven't taken it. If the right move.
The spinners are getting some turn. They're not making life easy for the batsman, and therefore one can understand the reluctance to take the new ball. Also, the bowlers Ishant and Bumrah would be just a little bit more tired. 23 overs bowled by Ishant, 29 by Bumrah. Ishant, of course, hasn't played for a while, so it's not going to be easy. It's been a tough time for the Indian fielders and the bowlers. It's been a good wicket to bat on. Occasional ball has been turning. And that'll be another boundary.
Haven't seen too many runs through long off or mid off and mid on. Another quicker delivery, staying in line. Playing with soft hands close to the body. Ness will take the boundary. No field set there on the leg side. Again, coming to the DRS, is it to help the umpires or is it to help make the correct decision? Another boundary. To err is human. Like a bowler can bowl a bad ball and get away, hit for a boundary. Umpires are bound to make mistakes. DRS should be a technology where you can correct the umpire's mistake.
I think it's a tool to help the umpire make the right decision.
I think you'll have to see it in a different way because it's going to hit the outside part of the stump deep. Stump to stump width is 9 inches. You take half an inch away from this side and half an inch away from that side. It's 8 inches. You're reducing the target even further. You saw the dismissal of Steve Smith recently in Australia, where the ball just clipped the leg stump and the bail fell off. I, for one, firmly believe it should help make the correct decision and not go in favor of the umpires.
I don't think that's an argument, is it? I mean, they're not mutually exclusive, helping the umpire and making the right decision. The idea is to get the right decision.
No, it's my personal opinion. My personal opinion. Should be a tool to make the correct decision. Then say umpire's call.
Another no ball. 6th for Nadeem and 16th for India.
And this no ball is something that Nadeem has to work on because for a spinner, it is really hard to explain why he should be bowling no balls.
Yes, 16 of them. 6 from Nadeem for spinner. Actually, haven't seen even Ashwin bowling too many, but he's bowled a no ball this innings. .521 for 6.
I'm not supposed to be here. Can you help me get back?
Why? Earth is boring.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
They're actually running an international drug racket.
वो आपके तीनों बच्चों को उठाकर ले जाएंगे.
मैं अपनी फैमिली को बचाने के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ.
Hotstar Specials presents Arya.
Well, 78.3. It's 0.3 from yesterday's game. Carried forward 78.3 overs bowled so far. It's been another fantastic day for England. Won the toss, capitalized on batting surface which you have here. Really good one. A little on the slower side, but most of them, especially Joe Root and Ben Stokes, look extremely good. Tom Sibley as well, very comfortable. A lot finer now, Virat. Leg slip. For that half an opportunity or maybe a quarter opportunity. Last over of Washington. Oh, that's well bowled.
Virat Kohli, we saw hands on his knees. Ian Botham at his very best would do that in second slip and take blinders. Amazing slip catcher, Ian Botham.
He'd also stand a lot closer to the bat, Ian Botham. That's why he was able to take some amazing catches. Second slip. Mainly at second slip for the new ball bowlers and stand a lot ahead of the wicket keeper. Not in line with the wicket keeper. In fact, a couple of paces ahead of the wicket keeper. And that's why he would take some absolute unbelievable catches because the deliveries would be coming to him at great speed. With that kind of a stance, it's difficult to take the low catches. Very difficult. You'll probably catch one in maybe half a dozen or so. 521 for 6.
राजू भैया छुट्टी पे हैं। ये मैं कर लेता हूँ और मैं ड्रीम 11 पे टीम बना लेता हूँ।
India versus England. Dream 11. Make your team now. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibly at your own risk.
Can expect catches. The chest tight.
Change in bowling. Ishant Sharma back in the attack. Is he going to take the new ball now? Still hasn't. I want to try a few more deliveries with this older one and check if it's reversing. He's trying to get that shine, trying to get one side of that ball a little heavier than the other. That much more difficult with this new saliva ban. No saliva allowed now, it's only sweat. Well spread out field though. 4 on the onside with a short mid-wicket. Still have a slip and a gully. This is Ishant's 24th over. Whoa! Under edge will beat Rishabh Pant. Go all the way to the boundary. Streaky one, but 4 nonetheless.
What England will be looking to do, 11 overs left for the day. Try and get as many runs as possible in these 11 overs. If they can get 40 or 50 runs, 4 runs and over, then they'll get to about 560. 560, 565. They'll be pretty happy with that. Maybe bat for a bit tomorrow, get to 600 if they can. That'll be their target, to get to at least 600. And India need to try and get them out earlier than that.
Oh, beautifully bowled. Finally gets the reward that he deserves. Has bowled beautifully right through this innings. And after 23 overs, he gets the wicket.
Excellent delivery. We saw earlier he was starting it from the stumps and missing leg. This one started from outside the line of off stump. A coach's dream, hitting the top of off stump. The right line and the right length. Butler gone for 30. It's 525 for 7.
New batter in is Jofra Archer. Can hit a long ball. Just his 12th test match.
The ball has come back in slightly. Butler failed to cover up with his back pad. He left just that little bit of room for the ball to come back in. Ball in, first ball. Wicket number 299 for Ishant Sharma. Did this one keep low? Or was Jofra Archer just late coming down on the ball?
I think kept a little low, fuller in length. And a little bit of swing as well. First delivery was too good for Archer. So picks up 2 and 2. Ishant Sharma. He'll be on a hat-trick. England 525 for 8.
The phoenix sits on the right hand of the emperor. She's both beautiful and strong. She is his guardian, his protector.
It's Jack Leach trying to prevent Ishant Sharma from picking up his hat-trick and also his 300th test wicket. His 13th test match, Jack Leach. We all would remember his heroic one that he scored, unbeaten. That winning effort.
This is a good ball again. It hasn't kept low. It's hit the top of the off stump. You can see, yes, it's hit the top of the off stump. So you can't say that the ball kept low. If you're a tall batsman, maybe you'll think that the ball kept low. But anything hitting the top of the off stump, it hasn't kept low.
On hat-trick, Ishant. And on 299, going round the wicket to the left-handed Jack Leach. A shot covers, 2-shot mid-wicket, slip and a gully. Can he get it? Ishant Sharma. Whoa. Hurry Jack Leach, surely. He'll get off the mark. Outside half of the bat.
2 wickets and 2 balls. First Butler, that was the duty. A similar delivery. Castle Jofra Archer with the ball reversing. Last delivery was a no ball.
Well, it's a no ball. No ball number 17. Have to re-bowl that one, but that does not mean he's on hat-trick anymore. He's not, as I've been corrected, I've been told. Has to be 3 in 3.
It's quite interesting about this hat-trick because I think if you've taken 2 wickets in the first innings and then you bowl your first ball in the next innings and you get a wicket, it is a hat-trick. Which I find very, 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 very difficult because if somebody, for example, is 72 not out in the first innings and then he goes and scores 28 in the second innings, why should it not be called 100? It could be 25 not out in the first innings, 24, 25 not out, he could be whatever, but he continues to bat in the next innings and he gets those 60, 80 runs and he gets 100. Why is it not called 100? If what happens in the first innings as far as bowling is concerned and you get a wicket off your first ball is considered a hat-trick. It should be in the same innings. You can say it is of consecutive deliveries, but it doesn't matter. It's got to be in the same innings.
Yeah, true. It has to be the same innings. Kind of me too. Wouldn't agree more. But what an effort this has been from Ishant. Last time he played red ball game was way back in February 2020, the first test match against New Zealand. Got a fifer there. Was out because of injury. Didn't go to Australia. Wasn't really fully fit. It's 98th test match, Shant Sharma. Actually, New Zealand, he got a fifer, and the test match before that against Bangladesh, the one-off pink ball test, got a fifer there as well. He's bowled well here. It's getting rewarded. Outside edge didn't carry. Wonderful over from Ishant comes to an end.